My God. There was an expectation that the New York Mets would pounce in the market after losing out on Kyle Tucker this past night. And there was a belief that I heard throughout the industry to expect moves from the New York Mets today. But as soon as I walk out the door to grab myself a bagel for this morning, I find out right on the phone, Will Salmon of The Athletic drops it. We all see it. Bo Bichette is a New York Met? What? Excuse me? What? I am floored. I am jaw-dropped. I did not see this coming. Bo Bichette is one of the only free agents all offseason long that I've talked so little about because I never thought in a million years genuinely that out of any and every player that the New York Mets could land, that they would be landing Bo Bichette. I'm not upset about it. I'm just like, what? Another infielder? Are you kidding me? Oh my God! The New York Mets bring in Bo Bichette on what is an absolutely massive 3-year, $126 million contract. Oh my God! This is insane! Like, what? I'm trying to gather my thoughts right now. I apologize, everybody. Please bear with me a second, and please let me know yours as we're watching live and I'm breaking this down in real time. Bo Bichette is a New York Met. This has come out of literally nowhere. Like, what? Bo Bichette is going to be the Mets starting third baseman for next season. The Mets are likely going to trade Brett Baty. This has already been said from Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic that you guys can see here. Bo Bichette expected to play third base for the New York Mets. Sources tell The Athletic Mets could trade Brett Baty for pitching. And I told you guys this. I told you guys this constantly throughout the offseason. I'm not saying the Mets need to trade Brett Baty. I'm just saying they may very well trade Brett Baty because of the fact that they are going to be looking at a starter via trade. The Mets' likelihood of landing a quality starter just skyrocketed through the roof with this kind of trade. And I am still jaw-dropping, trying to formulate my thoughts in real time. So I sincerely apologize, everybody. And also, please smash that like and subscribe on your way. And do not hesitate from telling me exactly how you're feeling as we're breaking this down live in real time right now. Out of every single player imaginable that the New York Mets could have landed this offseason, again, they up around and they land Bo Bichette. I'm excited. This tells you the Mets are in. And the best part about this, everybody, listen to this. This is what's crazy about this. I was just relayed from people of great confidence that the New York Mets were trying to land Bichette and Tucker. They were trying to land both. They were still going to be doing this pursuit of Bichette regardless on what would happen with Tucker. The Mets wanted both. The Mets wanted both. What does that tell you? That means that they're going to continue to do everything in their power to be as opportunistic as they possibly can for Marcus Worthy. Bo Bichette did not have the market he was looking for long term. The Phillies seemed like the favorite, and I was genuinely concerned because naturally, if Cody Bellinger is going back to the Yankees, there's a solid chance that we're going to see Bichette, if he doesn't go back to Toronto, go to Philadelphia. But instead of Bo Bichette going to Philadelphia, he goes to the New York effing Mets, and this contract has no deferrals and has opt-outs after the first and second season. So even if this is a one and done for Bo in New York, it is going to be a lot of fun. If you guys don't know Bo Bichette, let me enlighten you. This man is quite literally one of the best offensive bats of an infielder in all of Major League Baseball. He's not a good shortstop, and that's why transitioning him to third base is absolutely the smart and savvy move. It makes so much sense, endless sense. Now the Mets infield will have Bichette at third. They will have Lindor at short. They're going to have Simeon there at second, and they will have a platoon of Polanco and whoever else they go out to add there at first base. Bo Bichette, oh my God, this is insane, literally insane. In case you guys don't know Bo, again, let me enlighten you guys just a little bit more here. Let's just show you guys, let's go down and break it down. As you guys can see, 98th percentile in expected batting average, 83rd in expected, OBA, 86th in batting run value, 78th in expected slugging, 72nd in average exit velocity, right around league average in barrel percentage, 83rd in hard hit percentage, 83rd in sweet spot percentage. Whoa, well below league average in bat speed, so that is something to bear in mind. We see 74th there in squared out percentage, well below in chase percentage because we know he's a big swing and miss hitter. 83rd in whip percentage, 86th in K percentage, 28th in walk percentage. Again, first and outs above average. He plays a piss poor short, but that's fine because he's going to be the Mets third baseman. That's why it's not hopefully going to matter as much. Not as much ground to have to work with. And we know he has a solid arm, 36 percentile in arm strength. Could be worse there. Bo Bichette is officially a New York Met on a 3-year monster $126 million contract. Oh my God. Let me know your live reactions in real time, everybody. As you guys can see, Bichette is only entering his age 28 season. He's still in the peak prime of his career, and he's coming off of what was a fantastic season for the Toronto Blue Jays after what was a miserable 2024. In 2024, Bo Bichette dealt with massive ailment, only played half the season, only had 4 home runs, 31 RBIs, a 225 average, a 277 on base, a 322 slug, good for 30% below league average as a batter. But what do we see in 2025 in the walk year for Bo Bichette? Healthier, feeling better in 139 games, 18 home runs, 78 runs scored, 94 RBIs, a 311 batting average, a 357 on base, a 483 slug, and 34% above league average as a batter. That is good for just under a 4-WAR season for Bo Bichette, who now enters the fold here for the New York Mets as their big bat. Oh my God. Like literally, oh my God. Mets fans, let me know in real time. Are you happy about this move? Are you not happy about this move? Whatever your thoughts are, make sure to break them down in real time for me. I really, really do appreciate it. Can't believe this happened. I can't believe this happened in the sense that I really thought that Bo Bichette was going to be going back to the Toronto Blue Jays after the Blue Jays lost down Tucker. The widespread belief that we heard throughout the industry was that if Tucker did not go to Toronto, then naturally the Blue Jays were going to go right back there to Bo Bichette. And maybe they did put in a valiant effort to land Bo Bichette. But the reality is that when the New York Mets throw you an AAV of over $40 million a season with opt-outs after the first 2 years, that is a really hard thing to say no. Heyman's latest tweet, let's go ahead and check it out. John Heyman, here we go. Let's break this down, everybody. Let's get into this. Here we go. John Heyman with the latest post. We're going to refresh this, everybody. Again, breaking news in real time. Bo Bichette now is going to be the starting third baseman for the New York Mets next season. I'm going to show you guys his highlights in a second, but I know that this is a live stream reaction right now, so a lot of you guys are first finding out the news. I want to make sure that you guys see the visual, and if you're watching replay, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below as well. I greatly appreciate that. John Heyman states the following. $42 million non-deferred is a big number, but Mets saw the Bichette opportunity this way. Rare to get premium player on short-term deal. Right-handed hitter, continues balancing lineup, elite clubhouse presence and competitor. Exactly the type of guy the Mets want. Exactly. And what did Bo Bichette do? Oh yeah, dominate when it mattered most in postseason play when he was available. When he got in there in the dance in the World Series, he was an absolute menace. Him and Vladdy were absolute demons. I still just cannot wrap my head around the fact that the Mets just pulled this off. Not the fact that it was an impossible thing to happen, but rather that out of all the things that we were anticipating to possibly happen this offseason, this was most certainly not one of them. This is without a doubt along the Marcus Semien level of really catching us by surprise. And have we seen the trend of David Stearns this offseason? A lot of the moves that he has made has caught fans by surprise. It's been more for the worse than the better, but this is most certainly a move that helps steer the Mets in the direction of being better. Now let's check Nightingale because you guys are telling me to check out Bob. What did Bob say? Did he say something funny? Let's go ahead and check it out right now. Let's see. Oh my God. Okay, let's check Bob Nightingale. Oh my God, this looks like it's going to get even better. This is hilarious. Again, breaking news, Bo Bichette is a New York Met. I apologize for not having a proper thumbnail. I just had to throw on the first graphic I saw that had Bichette on it because I need to get live here ASAP. I'll fix it once I'm done with the live stream. The Phillies had agreed to Bo Bichette's request for 7 years, $200 million deal last night and believed they would sign him until the Mets swooped in with 3-1-26. That is how you do it. Let's go. That is how you do it. Finally. This is the exact kind of shit that's been happening with the Mets with the Dodgers. Finally, roles are reversed. And it happened to Philly. Thank you. That's massive. Remember when the Mets pried Starling Marte away from the Phillies entering the 2022 season? Granted, that contract aged like milk, but still, remember when that happened? Fast forward all these years later, the Mets just did it again, this time for Bo Bichette. Let's go. That is huge. That is insane. Bo was this close to going long-term to the Philadelphia Phillies to join Bryce, to join Trey, to join Castellanos, even though that's a much lesser degree, to join Schwarber, to join Bohm, everyone and their mother. And now the Phillies, what are the Phillies? Here's my question. If the New York Mets were going after Kyle Tucker and Bo Bichette, why won't the New York Mets throw a very lucrative, similarly structured contract to Cody Bellinger? Explain that to me. Explain why the Mets wouldn't, at minimum, consider approaching Cody Bellinger with 40+ million AAV a year like the Alex Bregman deal from a year ago, and with opt-outs, and see what happens. Why wouldn't you consider that when you just did an all-in move? You do not do an all-in move for Bo Bichette without obviously still trying to build this team the best way that you can with the guys that are still out there. Unless you were going to trade for a clear top outfielder somehow, some way in the market, the route would be realistically to go down. Go ahead and throw him absurd dollars. I know Boris is a schmuck, and I know he wants the long-term deal, but I don't think Bellinger's going to get the years that he wants. And because of that reason, what happens with Scott Boras' clients when they do not get the long-term deal? They accept short-term, high AAV with opt-outs after every single season. Blake Snell, a famous example. Pete Alonso, famous example. We can go on and on and on with the laundry list here, but the point stands. And the Mets were really in the market for both Tucker and Bo Bichette. That tells you that they absolutely are probably going to, at minimum, consider Cody Bellinger's short-term high AAV. Because realistically, Bellinger still fits this team beautifully, and if you added Bellinger, who could play the outfield and first base for you, just like that in the snap of a finger, you're feeling pretty damn good about yourself. Because think about it in that sense. It would be like the New York Mets, again, shoring up greater defense with Bellinger than what you had in Nimmo, and also bringing in the bat and the upside and the clutch gene with both Bellinger and someone in Bichette who was tremendous come the World Series just this past year. Those are the kind of things that help you bite the bullet with allowing guys like Alonso and Nimmo to go. This is the kind of route that makes logical sense now that the Mets just made this move. And the Mets were not going to be locking all in on next season. They would have not done this for Bo Bichette. They would have not pursued Kyle Tucker the way that they did. But what is so telling to me is that instead of this being a normal scenario per se, where, okay, the Mets went after Tucker, didn't land him, so like the Yamamoto sweepstakes, for example, they just basically left that be that for the offseason because there was no one else that was really worthy of giving the dollars. That wasn't how the Mets and David Stearns approached this, contrary to what we initially believed or thought. So again, I'm not complaining. Michael Marino, shout at him, look at this. The BatX 2026 projections, Kyle Tucker is projected to have a 269 batting average, an 858 OPS, a 136 WRC plus, and a 4.5 WAR. Bo Bichette is expected to have a 292 batting average next season, a 782 OPS, but I'm sure he'll be 800 or so, especially if the Mets continue to build this lineup. A 17% above league average, so lower on the WRC plus, but only 0.3 WAR lower. Kyle Tucker is getting paid $60+ million a year. The Mets offered $60+ million a year in our video that we dropped earlier today, and on top of it all, he's accepted what was an absolutely absurd contract, but the Mets had more immediate dollars in front for him before he could opt out of that deal than what the Dodgers were offering. So the Mets actually had a more lucrative offer of north of $20 million more front-loaded than what LA was offering. It couldn't work there, but now it's going to work here with Bo Bichette on the 3-year 126. And that is so telling, because think about the dollar difference that the Mets are spending on Bo Bichette, $42 million versus $60 million on Kyle Tucker, when at least projection-wise, when looking at Fangraphs wins above replacement, they're expected to be right around the same value of a player next year. And look at that gap. That's nearly a $20 million gap in Tucker to Bichette. I understand. I wanted Kyle Tucker too. I wanted Tucker more than Bo Bichette because I really wasn't thinking about Bo Bichette. Bichette wasn't a team need. However, he is now a luxury for the club. And by adding a luxury when you already had your infield figured out for where Bo would play, now what you do is you trade Brett Baty unless you shift him to first base and have him transition in platoon time with Polanco. I got to be honest, I don't hate that idea. I like Beatty a lot, but I love the idea of upgrading still as much as you possibly can. I love the idea of trading Brett Beatty to bring in a pitcher, or trading Brett Beatty and potentially getting a guy back that helps you more for your team need. The only issue is that he's not defensively sound, so I guess Yandy Diaz really wouldn't make that much sense now, right? So maybe disregard that thought. But nonetheless, I expect the Mets to still figure out something very interesting at first base. But oh my God, this is just absolutely insane, guys. We're watching in real time. The New York Mets just did something that, again, no one anticipated whatsoever. I see the donations. We're going to get to all those donations here in a second, everybody. We're going to break down more on Bo Bichette. We're going to take a look at his highlights. We're going to deep dive his numbers a little bit more. We're going to take a look at his career splits. We're going to get into all that fun stuff, everybody. But continue to smash that like and subscribe button on your way and help us get to our short-term goal of 500 plus likes to all of our live viewers and to our reoccurring viewers. I greatly appreciate you guys all as well. And our new ones, continue to smash those buttons. Thank you so much. And before we continue on, hearing from our amazing sponsor today at Sleeper, that has you covered for all things in sports fantasy. If you guys are football fans, so you either loved or hated what you saw this past weekend, I'm a Steelers fan, so you guys know exactly how I'm feeling right now, and I broke it down thoroughly with a lot of colorful opinions in a breakdown that'll be on the Stark Raving Sports YouTube channel later on today for each and every one of you to check out should you have interest. We're doing a Wardy football talk for once in a while. And to continue that conversation, let's look at our picks here for the upcoming weekend NFL games. And we're going with a 4-pick play. 2 out of these 4 picks are really me doubling down on picks I did this past weekend. I hammered Matthew Stafford and Caleb Williams over on yards. They both hammered it easily. So we're going to double down as they're going to face each other now there in Chicago between the Rams and the Bears. I think it's going to be a bloodbath. I think there's going to be an absolute duel going on the quarterback front. I'm expecting a lot of yards to be thrown there from these respective QBs. Drake May has a key matchup against with the best defense out there in the Texans I saw firsthand as a Steelers fan, but I think May's going to hammer the over on yards as well. And James Cook there for the Buffalo Bills. We're giving him at least 1 touchdown or more in Denver against those Broncos. If you guys like what you see here, utilize our promo code HMA at Sleeper, link down below, because you two are going to get a 100% match up to $100 for your first deposit. Again, that is promo code HMA to get a 100% match up to $100. Sleeper, link down below for all things sports fantasy. Thank you guys kindly for hearing them out. Alrighty, folks, let's get into these numbers regarding Bo Bichette. Again, in case you guys are chiming in, the Mets now have just added their starting third baseman for the 2026 season. And as someone who has admired Bo Bichette going back to his beginning days in Toronto, I never thought I'd see a world where this happened. I remember like it was yesterday being at a Mets-Toronto Blue Jays game in 2021 when the Blue Jays offense was through the roof with the one-and-done deal of Marcus Semien, which is crazy because now I'm just connecting the dots that Semien and Bichette are teammates again. That's awesome. I wasn't even thinking about that before, so that's really cool, actually. They'll be teammates again for at least one more season, but I remember that game like it was yesterday because the Mets got curb stomped. The Blue Jays offense was electric, and when I looked at Lourdes Gurriel Jr., a young Vladdy who was so dominant, MVP caliber as soon as he started his career, felt like for the most part. Shohei was just insane that year as well for the Angels. You look at Bo, you look at Teoscar Hernandez. You looked at even when Biggio was good still. When you looked at Danny Jansen was solid back then. When you looked at that entire lineup, George Springer, of course, the laundry list goes on from there. That Toronto Blue Jays offense was electric, and never in a million years did I think that year by year that offense would just crumble, that would break apart, that core group that was so beloved from such a startup would not hold true and stay true there in Toronto. But that is in fact the reality. Again, I'm so happy for my guy Will Salmon. Again, guys, Will was supposed to be doing a show with me. I shit you not. Will and I had a week ago agreed to do a segment yesterday. And then I followed up with him on Wednesday and said, yeah, I realize the Tucker sweepstakes are too hot right now. We'll talk as soon as we possibly can because I know that you're going to have busy work to do, and as will I. He said, absolutely, sounds good. Literally that Thursday, right around the time that we were going to go live together to talk about the latest in Mets land, Tucker goes to the Dodgers. And of course, who has a scoop the very next morning? It's the same man who's been relayed more positive and accurate information than anyone else on the beat covering the Mets right now. And this is not a slight on anyone at all. Will Salmon is just unbelievably impressive with his coverage this offseason. I have never seen one single reporter get as much down on the money as what Will Salmon has done so far this offseason. There's a reason why I've been gassing him up since he came over from the Brewers 2 years ago. like David Stearns, funny enough, but for him, it was from being a reporter there to now here. And yes, in case you guys do not know, the New York Mets made sure that the Philadelphia Phillies did not land Bo Bichette, which is just so effing amazing. Like, I'm still just so taken back by that, because that was my big concern actually after Tucker ultimately found himself landing now where we see in LA. But let's take a quick look, everybody, at Bo Bichette's splits from this past season. I think that's important for us to take a look at. We're going to break down Bichette's splits. We're also going to break down a bit more on his game. Then we're going to go back and take a look more on what you guys have to say. I know we have donations. I promise I'm going to get to those as soon as I possibly can. I just want to make sure that I address as much as I possibly can on the front of Bo Bichette as quick as I can, as you guys can see here. So let's go ahead, everybody. Let me just adjust this. My apologies. Let me grab this right here. Okay, that's why that did that, I suppose. No worries. Bing, bang, boom. All right, guys. Now let's all enjoy these Bo Bichette highlights together. This is nice. So Bo Bichette this past season, everybody, if we take a look at his splits versus right-handed pitching this past season, he batted .312 with a .360 on base and a .465 slug at 825 OPS. Batting against left-handers, a .308 average, a .345 on base, a .546 slug for .891 OPS. So pretty much the same numbers, but a little bit more slug and a little bit more power, because he probably had a bit more pitches that hunt and got right in his wheelhouse there in the heart of the zone from those lefties in particular. And when we look at home and road splits, let's take a look at that, everybody. And this is also very good to see. At home, mind you, playing in Toronto, a bandbox for sure, .322 average, .364 on base, .527 slug, .892 OPS, and that included 11 home runs and 44 RBIs in 66 games. On the road in 73 games for Bichette this past season, he had 7 home runs, 50 RBIs, a .350 on base, a .443 slug, a .301 batting average, good for just under 800 OPS. So the splits look damn good, of course, home and away, but let's also bear in mind that Bo has fluctuated a little bit with his offense the past couple years due to injury. So if we take a look at Bo Bichette, let's look a little bit more at his clutch numbers, and then let's take a look at his career splits I like to break down with each and every one of you, because these are important numbers that I always want to get into as we evaluate a player. I apologize for not being prepped for this, but again, this was the one thing I really did not think was going to happen. I also apologize if I'm lagging at all either. I hope it's not egregious for you guys, but I appreciate you sticking through it nonetheless. But when we take a look at leverage, in high leverage, Bo Bichette batted .371. Oh my God. And high leverage, Bo Bichette batted .371 this past season, .414 on base, .581 slug, .995 OPS. Medium leverage, .292, .341, .478 with an .819 OPS. Low leverage, .304, .347, .442 with just under 800 OPS. Tremendous numbers. We know he's clutch. We've seen this with Bichette. Let me plug my phone in so it doesn't die on me real quick. My apologies for that, everybody. As we continue on, let's take a look at this, everybody. Oh my God. So that's what we have there in the clutch. Let's get into the clutch stats. Bo Bichette, runner and scoring position numbers this past season. .306 average, .383 on base, .583 slug with 2 outs, mind you, .966 OPS, 5 home runs, 35 RBIs. Late and close, .325 average, .354 on base, .558 slug, .912 OPS. In tied ball games, .274 average, .738 OPS. Within 1 run, .800 OPS. Within 2 run, .840. Within 3 run, .815. So he's just been unbelievably consistent. Oh my God, this is so good to see. Literally so electric, and we know he's a playoff performer. We literally just saw him dominate this past postseason in the World Series in particular. So that's what you got in Bo Bichette there in his splits. Now let's break down his career splits when looking at both home and away and righty versus lefty for those that care about those things. Oh my God. Wow, I really didn't think this was going to happen, everybody. I really didn't, but I'm so amped up about it, obviously. Okay, career splits for Bo Bichette versus right-handed pitching. .292 average, .333 on base, .460 slug, 800 OPS versus left-handed pitching. .302 average, .350 on base, .506 slug, .856 OPS. He has been unbelievably consistent with his high contact ability, and he's similar to Yandy Diaz in that sense, where you're going to get 20-plus home runs out of him in a normal, healthy season, and he's still going to hit for high contact as good as 300. Like, that's what's so exciting about Bo Bichette. He's a literal hits god, and because he's a hits god, he's not a defensive king. He's a defensive liability, but that was as a shortstop. Now he's going to be going to a less grueling position at third base, which I hope and expect that he will transition fine there. And we'll see We'll see, obviously, if there's any major issues there, but we'll worry about that should it become a problem. Now, when we look at Bo Bichette, let's also take a look here briefly at his high leverage numbers. Career high leverage, 318 batting average, 362 on base. We're looking at a 528 slug, an 890 OPS, medium leverage, 800 OPS, and low leverage, 778 OPS. The lowest batting average he had in those stats is still literally 286. He's insane. He's literally insane. And yes, I was lagging, so I apologize for that, everybody. And just because I have a lot of things running right now, I want to show you guys some highlights, but it was lagging as part of the process. So my sincerest apologies for that. But as you guys see more of Bo Bichette here, look at it. Starting in 2021 is where Bo really burst on the scene. Mind you, he's only at age 23. 29 home runs, 121 runs scored, 102 RBIs, 25 stolen bases. He's not that stolen base guy anymore, unfortunately. But maybe he will be now that he's with Juan Soto on the Mets. I guess we'll just have to see. 298 batting average, 343 on base, 484 slug, 22% above league average, 5 WAR season. 2022 Toronto Blue Jays season for Bo Bichette. 24 home runs, 91 RBIs, 91 runs scored, 93 RBIs, 13 stolen bases, 290 average, 333 on base, 469 slug, 29% above league average. We look at Bo Bichette 2023 season, 20 home runs, 69 runs scored, 73 RBIs in 135 games. So we're looking at about 15 to 20 games less than the previous 2 years. A 306 batting average, a 339 on base, a 475 slug, good for 24% above league average, and just around a 4 WAR season. 2024, he fell off a cliff, but that was because he dealt with major ailment, and that cannot be understated. That's why he only played half a season. 2025, 139 games. Didn't have as much of the home runs that we were hoping, 18, but still had 94 RBIs, and also had a 311 batting average, a 357 on base, 483 slug, 34% above league average. That is the best offensive season when looking at WRC Plus that he has had in his entire career. So that's really good to see. And of course, it's in a walk year naturally for Bichette, and he was right around a 4 WAR per Fangraphs this past season as well. So we got more to say here on Bo Bichette, everybody. I'm going to get to those donations here, so I will address them once we cut things off for our replay view. Truthfully, for both those players, why wouldn't they, at minimum, be heavily in the market as well for what we saw in one Cody Bellinger? They've been heavily involved in his market in the past already. Why not go ahead and do it again? It literally just makes so much sense why they wouldn't just go ahead to do exactly that. For concurrent viewers, if you haven't smashed that like and subscribe button already, I really, really appreciate if you guys could do exactly that. And you know what we're going to do now, everybody? What we're going to do right before we cut off the live stream, and this is where you guys need to start spamming right here, right now, as a thank you for 37,000 subscribers. Let's F around and give away a Bo Bichette jersey. I will preface by saying that I will not get the order in for Bichette's jersey until at minimum a month from now, because this is probably going to take a while, and these jerseys are not cheap. But I promise whoever wins this jersey giveaway, I will absolutely hook you guys up with said jersey. Just give me some time on it. But you guys deserve it. Let's go ahead. Before we cut off the live stream for our replay viewers, I want them to see this. Spam in the chat right now. Me. I'm going to randomly select one name in the live chat, and whoever's name I randomly select, you are the official winner of a Bo Bichette New York Mets 2026 jersey. So let's go ahead and do exactly that, everybody. All right, I'm going to look away. You guys do your thing. Continue to spam. Continue to spam. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, here we go. Edward Kramer, congratulations. You are the giveaway winner. Edward Kramer, 3286. You have won yourself a Bo Bichette New York Mets jersey. Like I said, just give me some time to get it sent your way. But once I'm able to get that order in the next month, I promise I will hook you up. Now what you have to do, my friend, is reach out to me over XDM at WardyNYM, or you can reach out to me via email, which is down below in the description of this live stream at draw, that is DRAWT 7 at protonmail, PROTONMAIL.com, to send me your information. I need to know your full name. I need to know your address. I need to know, and that's about it actually, and your jersey size, because I don't need to know what player you want, because you're going to get the Bo Bichette jersey. So let me know, again, address, full name, jersey size. hit me up DM over X, or you can also hit me up via email, which is down below in the description, as I said. I apologize to all the other people that didn't get a chance to win that, but also congratulations once more to Edward. That's absolutely fantastic. I'm really happy that I'm able to hook you guys up today, a day after I initially promised you guys we were going to do one if, say, the Mets landed Tucker. But all right, guys, let's continue on the live show now for all of our live viewers. For people on replay, let me know your thoughts down below as always, and let's get into what is now next for the New York Mets this offseason. Peace out, everybody.